Hi guys, welcome back to another video in the series. This time we're looking at doing the sound treatment on the doors of the E92. So this is what the door looks like once the door card has been removed and the moisture liner and pulled off some of the butyl that was holding that in place. So it's all cleaned up. We've also wrapped up a lot of this wiring. We talked about that in a previous video, but really quickly, these are the wiring that goes to your mirrors and tweeter. This is the wiring that runs to your ambient lighting, and then your wiring that runs over here to power your windows, your door actuator, and puddle lights, things like that. Yeah, so the task ahead is to really sound dampen the outer door skin, and this inner door skin. There's parts of it which are actually quite thin and rattly, so we'll have to treat those as well. And we'll see how we go, but probably lay down a layer of maculated vinyl to really shield out a lot of the noise. So just like in many of the other exercises, it's just a matter of cutting out the sheets and putting them in place and rolling them to adhere properly. So I'm going to get started on some of that and give you a little update as I get some of the material in. Okay, thanks. Guys, working on the sound treatment of the doors, thought I'd just share some of the prep work. So before you get laying the sound deadener down, the first thing to do is to give the inside door skin a bit of a clean. So just a squirt with your wax and oil remover and just clean down, wipe down the surfaces, and you can see that there's actually quite a bit of dirt and grime that builds up inside the door skins. So best to give that a clean so that the sound deadener will adhere to the surfaces properly. So some other bits and pieces about the door card. So basically there is this bracing that runs in the door card in a V formation, tapering down to this end. Down here you can kind of just see it, and then running up through here. So it effectively divides the door skin into three parts: this top part, this center part, and then the skinnier lower part down in here. And at the bottom of that, you can't really see, but there's some drain holes and things at the bottom. So we really just want to treat these parts, these flat surfaces, not worrying too much about that bracing. The window actually, or the glass actually, slides down in here and hits this foam bump stop mechanism. So treating that is not going to interfere with the glass. So that's a bit of a rundown on a little bit about the door card, about the door. Sorry. Make sure you wear gloves when you start working in there, because a lot of these surfaces, well, they're not sharp, but you're certainly going to potentially cut yourself. So make sure you glove up when you're doing this job. All right, I've finished cleaning the surfaces, so I'm now going to start cutting up some of the pieces and getting some sound deadener down. Join you soon. Hey guys, so I've got the first third of the external door skin sound dampened, as far into the door as I can go, and as far up I can go without sort of interfering with anything. So it's pretty tight in there, but getting your hand into this access hole and sort of feeding strips of it in that way, and then these two access holes here, and feeding it into that door area there. So the trick is to really cut them up into strips, probably about 30 centimeters long by 14 or 15 centimeters wide, and then using the roller as best you can to sort of press it all down so it adheres properly in the tighter spots. You know, I'm just using a long flathead screwdriver. So once again, slow work, but that's done. I've actually applied 2 layers of sound deadener to that, to double skinned it, and you know, that's, if I tap on the outside of the door, that's sounding pretty solid compared to, you know, something like that, or you know, in there. So I'll continue on with the treating the sections 2 and 3, come back and show you when I'm done. So completed the outer skin of the door with the sound deadener. So I think the hardest part would have been this bottom section. It's just really narrow and difficult to get your hands, you know, right into. But we've got the sound deadener in there. There's 2 layers on each of these surfaces, and around behind the mid base I've put 4 layers, and I've also tied in the panels through by sticking sound deadener almost like a band across these braces, just to sort of tie everything in together. It's not that the braces will vibrate or anything, it's just to give the thing a whole heap of added stiffness. So the door's actually feeling pretty weighty, and you know, and that's a bit drummy up the top there, but in the middle here where we got behind the mid base, that's really solid. So that took probably about 8 sheets of sound deadener. So it yeah, it's pretty, especially when you're double layering everything. But you know, if you're going to go to this trouble, you know, may as well do it right. So that's the outer skin now done on the door. The next part is to now treat the these metal parts on the inner skin. So once again, it's just trace and cut, so I'll go do some of that and I'll come back later with an update. Hey guys, back again. So I'm just going to do a quick test of the window to make sure that it's all working fine now that with that sound deadening in. So I've just grabbed the switch out of the door card. It just presses out, has these little spring clips on the side that you're pressing to release it. So with the key in the ignition, we'll give it a go. So that looks fine, so you can just see that the basically the window slides up and down on these black rails here and here. I'll just lower that down so you can see the mechanism again. So there it is, holds the glass in place, basically travels on that black rail there, and here on this black rail here, and then when it gets to the bottom it hits this, it stops, and this foam bump stop thing there is just there as a safety. So that's what your window mechanism looks like inside, and the controller and everything's in there. So yep, all working just fine, thank you very much, and come back tomorrow and do a little bit more work. Cheers. Hey guys, welcome back. Still working on the sound treatment of the doors. Today going to put down the sound deadener and hopefully get a start on the mass loaded vinyl. The intention is to basically cover this whole panel and fill in all these gaps. I might leave a hole here for the subwoofer, sorry, for the mid bass, so that the door actually acts like a box. I haven't really made up my mind about that yet, but anyway, so the approach is to basically apply sheets of the sound deadener, you know, across the door that way, and use some tracing paper to really map out the shape that I need to cut from the sheet, and sort of go from there. So what I'll do is just get started on the first sheet. I'm going to work from right to left, and I'll come back in a moment and show you how the tracing works. Okay, I've started applying the tracing film. Just a couple of tips. What I tend to do is attach it along one edge that I'm working on, and then slowly roll the backing paper down and apply the film as I'm unrolling. Where there are really big items that protrude and sort of kink up the film, try to cut those out so they don't interfere, because the closer you can, the closer you can get the film down, so this is a bit of a bubble in it, but the closer you can get the film down, the better you'll be able to see and mark things out, and the more accurate the final sheet will be. I had to cut a slit in here for the wires, so the sheet would sit flat. So just slowly work the film down, pressing it as you go along until you've got the sheet covering the section that you want to cut out. And basically, what I do is cut out the sheets so they're roughly the same size as the sound dampener sheet that I'm going to be applying. So just a quick tip. All right, I'll continue on with that and be right back. Okay, we've got the tracing paper all rolled down in place and all marked up. So basically just marking out the bits where we want to punch and the edges that we want to cut around. I've had a little bit here because it wasn't quite in the right position, but I've got the curve that I want to cut, and then of course marking out where the slit needs to be so the wire can extend through. And what I've done then is just put a little cross on some of the holes where the wire clips go in. Like I said, I'm not really sure whether I'm going to bother with those or not. So that's the first trace done. I'm now going to take that off and transfer that to the sound deadener sheet and cut that out and come back and show you the end result. Okay, so I got the first sheet of sound dampener cut out and just doing a test fitting, and as you see, it fits pretty well. So I'm going to now stick that down in place and apply the next sheet of tracing paper. Okay, so got the first sheet on and the tracing paper for the second sheet laid in. Just a bit of a tip: when wanting to cut these holes, just pierce it through the film and then cut like a up, down, and then left and right to form a little star, and then the thing will just push straight through, so it gives you a much cleaner hole. So that's the first sheet that's in and rolled into place, and this is the second layer of film. Bit of an overlap, and that means that next sheet will basically cover this hole at the top with a slight overlap, and sort of just miss this wiring part here. So I'll mark all that up, cut that out, get that in, and give you another look. Hey guys, so the third sheet is now in place. I've gone across the door this way to best cover up that gap. So that's now all sort of rolled down. This is a bit loose, but hopefully it will stiffen up when I get another sheet on the top. So just going to do a quick test to make sure that nothing interferes when we wind down the window, and even if that gets pushed in, no, all working just fine. So one more sheet to go, and that'll be the sound deadening on that door. I'll finish that off and be right back. Okay, so that's the last of the sound deadener sheet in place. It overlaps probably a good 15 centimeters or so in both directions. So while that was pretty floppy before, that's actually quite solid now, and and provides a complete vapor barrier for the door. So that's that task done. Now to move on to the mass loaded vinyl. Hey guys, back again. Now working on the mass loaded vinyl sheet for the door on the passenger side. So I put some tracing paper down and marked out the edge and where the slits need to go so the wires can be routed through, because those wires need to sit on the outside. And I've got the mass loaded vinyl sheet ready to go. I'm actually going to flip it over so the vinyl, the hard side of the vinyl, is up against the inside of the door itself, because I actually want to apply some industrial Velcro to hold it in place, and so that's going to work much better on this surface than it is on the foam side. So the foam side will be facing into the cab. So I'm going to transfer that pattern now onto the vinyl and cut it out and come back and give you a look. Hi guys, I've got the mass loaded vinyl cut out and test fitted. I've cut out and punched the holes for the wiring and where it screws in. So that all fits really nice, and I've trimmed around the edges to make sure that it's not overlapping, you know, up here or anything like that. So I think it fits pretty well. So what I'm going to do next is fix it in place with these little pads of industrial Velcro, which means if I need to take it off at any point, it'll be easy to remove. So I'm going to go and do that now, and I'll show you how it all turns out. Hey guys, so I'm attaching the mass loaded vinyl using the Velcro pads. So what I've done is cut them out to size and have stuck them roughly to the back of the vinyl, and then I've basically pressed it into place like this, so that they match up perfectly. And then using the roller, you know, just roll them both to get good adhesion, and that way I know that they're both really well attached to the surfaces and also line up perfectly. So these two are ready to sort of roll into place next. So I'll finish off all the patches and then come back and show you what I've done. Hey guys, so that is the mass loaded vinyl applied to the door. So you can see that I've marked where the pads are, so if I do need to remove this, it's a matter of just getting your finger in behind between the two layers of the Velcro and stripping that back. So there's 5 pads along the top and 3 along the bottom. Seems to be holding it in position really well. I've covered up the cuts that I made to sort of splice the wires through with a bit of cloth tape, and I've left the tracing film on, because when you try to peel it off, it actually tears the foam, and will also provide, you know, a degree of waterproofing to the foam on the back of the liner. So that's in, and you know, it's really solid, and these edges where it looks a bit rough will actually be covered up by the trim and the acoustic liner that's inside the door card itself. So that is the passenger side done. I'm going to move on and now do the door cards, and then come back on a different video and show you it all going back together as a finished door. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next episode.